Hello everyone! My name is Jennifer Stay and welcome to our second part of this week's live event for Coloring Bliss. So glad to be here with you. We have some fun watercolor brush pens all laid out in front of me. While we were moving over from Facebook to YouTube, I was kind of cleaning them up and getting them organized so that I had some room to work. In the first part of our live event, we spent the first hour talking about 3 different types of watercolor brush pens. I have the ColorIt, the ColorIt, and the Jane Davenport watercolor mermaid markers. This is getting really confusing, and that is why I wanted to do this video, because it is very confusing. And are these even worth your purchasing money? Are they worth your time? Can you get beautiful effects out of them? These are the questions we're here to answer. The first thing we're going to do today together is treat a page in my coloring book so that it is ready to accept watercolor media. That's what we're going to do. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. So what we're going to do is this book right here, which is my Easter Bliss coloring book. I want to use my watercolor brush pens in, but this is just really awesome marker paper in here, which is perfect for alcohol markers. And it works really great. I can blend my alcohol markers all day in this book. But the minute you hit it with any kind of watercolor media, the fibers of that paper just grab onto that water and will not let go of it. It won't blend. It just, you know, you guys have done it before. You've tried coloring with Tombows or your Crayolas, any of those in any kind of standard type paper, and that ink just doesn't move. It leaves streaks. It doesn't like to blend. You guys know what I'm talking about. And it's just the nature of watercolor type products on basic paper. Now, watercolor paper has magic in it. It's called sizing, and that sizing is a protective treatment that they do to the paper that allows the watercolor products to sort of float for a while on top of the paper, which allows the fibers to be protected so that action of the fibers grabbing onto the colors doesn't happen as quickly. And that's why those beautiful watercolorists can make the beautiful blends and the flowing of the watercolor. They make it look so perfect and easy, don't they? Well, they have sizing on their side, and we don't, because we're colorists working on beautiful coloring books. And so first thing I want to do today is treat a page and get it ready so that I can do some of those effects. But I also want to give away one of these books, Steve. I want to give one away.
Okay.
And last week we had a giveaway for this right here. So hopefully you had a chance to enter and get into that giveaway. This is one of the books from our Coloring Bliss print shop, where you can come and pick the kind of paper you want your book made out of and customize the book. You can even add one of the new Easter pages into this book if you want to. So come check out the Bliss print shop. And if you didn't win this week, don't worry, because we have another giveaway that we're starting tonight, so you can enter to win the giveaway. I'm going to show you that prize here in just a minute. So, are we ready to announce the winner?
Yep, the winner is Darcy James.
Darcy James, you are the winner of this Easter Bliss book, and hopefully you are here.
She already contacted me, so...
Yay, Darcy! I'm so glad. We were a little worried because Steve couldn't get a hold of you with the email that you provided, so whew, wanted to make sure, Darcy, that you got your prize. So congratulations. Thank you so much for entering, and I'm so excited that you're going to get a copy of this book right here. This is the one we're going to be working in right now, so... Now, I'm excited.
Marta Sparks says, "Thank you. I'm not a fan of watercoloring, and all the questions you mentioned are also my questions. I've been needing someone like you to show if they are worth buying."
Okay, good. I'm glad. Now, hopefully you caught our first hour. If not, there is a link in the post a link in the video description that will take you over to our Facebook page, and you can watch the first hour because we went in depth into each of the 3 different kinds of pens. Each of them are a little bit different and have their pros and cons, and we went over all of that there. But now what we're going to do is talk a lot about how to actually start using them, and I'm going to use all 3. We can answer more questions and enjoy them. Like I told everybody over on Facebook, we have ordered some of the Arteza ones. They're coming in, and I'm excited to kind of see how they fall in with these other kinds that I have, and I'll let you guys know when I get them. So, and I want to hear from all of you. I want to know, which brands do you have? If you have multiple brands, what is your experience been? Do some flow better than others? Do some have better colors than others? That's the kind of questions I want to hear from you, because I only have 3 brands. It's not like color pencils where I have like 50 brands and I can tell you a real strong opinion from brand to brand. Here I only have 3 brands, so the more input I can get from all of you will help our community. Speaking of community, I am going to mention right off the bat that we have a really great Facebook community, and this is a really great resource for you to go get your questions answered. If you are looking at purchasing a product like these and you just are confused, because it's very confusing, make sure you go ask your questions to this community, because maybe they'll help you be able to get to the right product a little easier and not waste your time and money. For instance, I wanted to show again here real quick why this is so confusing and why you may want to ask our community for help. This is a product that shows you why this is so hard. Let me show you what this says. This is by Sargent Art. This says they are brush tip markers. It says right here, classic markers with paintbrush tips. So it sounds like they're the right thing, right? But when you look at them and pull them out, they are totally not the right thing. They have a felt tip, brush end, and the tip isn't even flexible. It's hard as a brick. It's just like a Crayola super tip is what it is. It's just a stretched out
it's
version.
A felt tip marker.
It's a felt tip marker, which is fine. It would be just very adequate if that's what you wanted. But if you were expecting one of these, which is... Our fan is making weird noises. Steve just turned it off. If you were expecting one of these, which is what we're playing with tonight, is more of an actual bristly brush tip, painterly type tool, then you would have been really discouraged if this is what you ordered hoping to get this. So that's why I recommend that you check out our Facebook group and become a member, because they can help you. You can ask your questions and get help. So I recommend that.
Deanna says, I have Sargent. I don't like them.
Yeah, they seem just like the Crayola super tips is what they seem like to me. So
and they're different than what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're just not the same creature. They're a different creature. Now, as far as the giveaway, I have a spare set of brush tip markers that I would like to give away. This set right here, brand new set of watercolor brush pens by Castle Art is this the giveaway for this week. So if you would like to try some and you would like a chance to win, make sure you follow the link that Steve has provided and you can have a chance to win this set right here. It comes with a water brush and everything. We've already gone over really quite in-depthly over on Facebook all about this set. I have mine. I just dumped them all out and put them in this cup right here so they're easier for me to grab the rest of the evening and demonstrate them for all of you. So that's the prize we're giving away. I also want to mention, don't forget that we have our countdown to Easter going on. I am behind. I'm only on day 6 and today is April 10th, so I have 4 days to catch up on. So if you want to join us, don't worry if you're behind or haven't started yet, because you can catch up with me. So this is a free download. It's got a little window for you to color every day leading up to Easter, so come and download it. There's a link. There's also a free download. It has 4 big Easter eggs on it that you can download and enjoy as well. And I have 4 brand new coloring pages for all of you who have access to the premium library. And to get access to the premium library, all you have to do is become one of our Bliss boosters. And there's several different levels of membership that you can join, and there's lots of other perks, not just access to the premium membership. So come and check that out. Let me show you that art real quick, because I'm quite proud and happy with how they turned out. Let me move a couple things so you can actually see what I'm showing you. Here's the first one right here. And yeah, I have done a wee bit of coloring on it already. I think it turned out so cute. We've got a little Easter bunny right here, and he's gazing at a giant egg. Egg? Egg. Egg. Ugh, we're going to talk about this again.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just say it how you want to say it.
This large oblong object. And I did all these flowers are like henna flowers is what I was going for on this one, and I just think it's so cute. So this one is ready for everyone who has access to the premium library. I also promised everyone a couple more religious type based coloring pages for Easter. So this is the first of two right here. This one says, "He is not here, for he is risen." And the idea of this one was I wanted it to look like layers of a card, like when you make your own handmade card and it has layers of different kinds of paper, and then you would cut out different flowers and put it on it. That's what this one was supposed to look like. So I'm excited to color it because you can do different colors and textures, and it's going to be lots of fun. So that's the first one that has more of a religious theme. The second one I made for all of you with a religious theme is this one right here.
Here, let me go take Rosie and see if she'll...
I'm going to go get her watered. Let me move out of your way. See if you can...
Come here.
Maybe she'll take some ice. If you give her some ice.
Want to try some ice?
Yeah. This is the second one right here, and it says "He lives," has some cute Easter eggs and some flowers and things to color, all just bright and happy, and that one is ready for everyone in the premium library. And then we've got one more right here, and this one, just love how this one turned out. Has this fun branch with some stylized flowers up in it, and then these beautiful little Easter decorations hanging from the branch, and little baubles and things that we get to color and enjoy. And it should be lots of fun to color. So those are the 4 new pages all ready for everyone who has access to the premium library. So this is a great time to come and become a member over on our website if you want access to these new pieces of art. So I think I've covered all the business that we needed to cover, and now we can dive in and treat one of the pages in this Easter book here. This is my copy of the Easter book. And I've done a lot of coloring in here already, so I just need to pick one that we want to treat and get ready for coloring tonight. Which one do I want to do? We've got some grayscale in the back, but I want to make sure... Oh, that's a nice easy one. Or the bunny. Let's see. This is marker paper in here. Oh, that's a pretty one too. Oh, I haven't colored that one in a while. Let's see. There's some fun ones in here. Oh, that piggy. I think I colored that one recently. Oh, the spring bonnets. Maybe I'll do... That one's pretty simple, and we could do some good watercolor wash across it. I kind of like that idea. I like that idea. But, yeah, I like that idea. Okay, we'll do this one. All right, so this is the one we're going to treat and have it all ready for some watercolor brush pens. So what we need for treating is, first off, this is my preferred treatment for our papers. This is the Daniel Smith Transparent Watercolor Ground. And I believe Steve has put a link to it in the video description if you want to go and check this out. So follow that, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Like I've said before, over on our in the Bliss Partners, we've done a ton of testing of different kinds of gessos and mediums and all kinds of things of different ways to treat your paper. And this is my favorite. And then I've got a brush, and I've got some painter's tape. And then right here, this is some cutting boards that I purchased at Dollar Tree. And I picked these up for this exact purpose. And you get 2 to a package. And they are clear and cheap and wonderful. And you take one of them out. This is what it looks like right here. And I'm going to slide it behind like this. And that's going to protect the paper behind it and kind of keep everything clean. So if you have a book that opens like a normal book, then you just slide it into your book and it will protect everything from what we're about to do. Let me move my water out of the way. I should just take a drink. I noticed there were several questions that were coming up as I was rambling on and thumbing through the book, Steve. So now we'll take this tape. I'm going to secure the paper down to our piece of plastic here. I've used just a normal cutting board before. I've used wax paper before. I've done nothing before. All of them have worked different ways. Okay, I took my tape and I tapped it up and down on my pants, and that kind of puts some extra fuzz on the back and makes it a little less sticky. I want it to be a little less sticky so we don't damage the paper. And we're gonna just stick this down to, I want to treat as much of this paper as possible. So like that. Okay. So again, about that long. Okay. Now do the same thing over here. Oh no, it got caught in my hair. Tape in my hair. Oh, that was uncomfortable. Everything's all right. We're back to normal. Okay. Good. 2 pieces of tape. One more. Right there. Well, we might tape over here too, though. I think I probably will. Okay. Touch on my pants. It's a good way to get all the lint off your pants, I guess. And cat hair. Let's be honest. Cat hair, right? Okay, we're going to do one more piece to kind of keep any of the Daniel Smith watercolor ground from going down the hole. Down the perforated holes. Okay. That's a good piece.
Lynn asked, why do you have to tape it down?
Okay, so this is going to do 2 things. Make it so I can move it around easy and get it out of my way. So if I was smart, I would do this the night before, right? And just let this sit and dry. And then I could just lift this up now and move this around. It's portable, and I could treat it and stick it over on the dining room table and just let it sit and dry overnight. Another reason is it's going to help that paper to not warp quite as much as it gets wet. And it just helps everything stay nice and neat, and it keeps all this watercolor ground where it's supposed to be, doesn't leak and go everywhere.
Have you shown them yet why? Just where I was gone, I didn't know.
Show them why.
Why you're doing this? Have you shown them the difference between why you would want to do this, especially with these waterbrush or watercolor brush pens?
Not really. So let me get the first coat on and then I'll show them.
Okay.
Then it can be sitting and drying and we'll show you. So this brush here I picked up at Michael's. And I found like these brushes at like 3 different spots in Michael's. And it depends on the department you go to in Michael's. This was in a 3-pack. You guys know what I mean, right? You go into one department and they'll cost one amount, and you go into a different department and they'll cost a different amount, and they label them differently. So if you are a fine artist, they're going to charge you more for the same brush. But if you go into the home decor area, they'll charge you less because they know you're just there to grab a paintbrush for something else, right? So wander around the store because you might be able to find a cheaper version of the same exact brush. What I was looking for was these bristles. I wanted a really see how what's the word? It's very rigid. These bristles are very rigid so that it would give as few strokes as possible. That was what I was after. Now you can also spread this with like a credit card or a palette knife. Those kinds of things work too. Okay, so this is transparent, so it goes on a little bit milky and then will dry clear. And you want to do thin coats so that you don't upset the paper. Remember, you are introducing a wet medium right now, so all the fibers of the paper are all freaking out right now. They're all swelling up. And what we're doing is we're creating a barrier so that when we come and do our coloring, this medium is in between the paper and what we're going to be coloring with. So it will protect the fibers of the paper. Okay, so I'm going to go lightly over it and hopefully get rid of the majority of my strokes and smooth out, make it really light. All right, we've joked about this before. That Daniel Smith on his bottle here says we shouldn't use any sort of shortcut to dry this. We're supposed to let it air dry for 24 to 48 hours. But around here we break all the rules and we use a tool. So I'm going to use a tool. We're going to do 2 coats on here. And we're going to see if my tool is going to behave. And as I blow it, you'll notice it starts to go transparent and you start to see the line work.
Mary Lynn just donated to our channel.
Oh, Mary Lynn, thank you so much.
Which, by the way, we should show them.
We need to mention
show them pictures of that too.
Yeah.
I got the Facebook post up.
Last week we had, if you remember, we had my nephews here, Matthew and Bryson, and so many of you were so kind as to donate to their Bliss shopping spree. So during the weekend we took them to Bliss and walked around the store and had so much fun with them. And it was interesting to watch. Bryson had never been in this art store before. He's been to Michael's and Hobby Lobby before, but had never been to a legit art store. It's a very different experience. If any of you have been to an art store before, you know. It's a very different experience. So, it was interesting to watch the 2 of them and see how they went through the store differently. Matthew was very confident Well, because Matthew has been to Blick many times. He has a Blick close to him where he lives, and he saves up his money quite regularly and goes to Blick quite regularly. But Bryson, he likes going with his mom to like Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And so he was a little like, what do we look at? Where's my gel pens? Where are the things I'm used to seeing? So here's some fun pictures. We also met up with Amy, one of our fans here, one of our followers, and it was so fun to see her. You could see her there with her Pikachu shirt on, and we got to visit with her and follow her around the store too. She found me some
her daughter there too.
Yeah, that's her daughter named Jennifer. Such a good name. And so that was really fun to meet up with her, and Amy and Jennifer had brought some extra supplies to share with the kids and with me, so that's what's on my lap there, some of the supplies she brought. So it was just such a wonderful afternoon to go do that with all of them and wander around one of my favorite stores and watch the joy in those boys' eyes and just, it was just really lots of fun. So thanks again to everyone who donated last week and made that extra special for those boys. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, they felt very spoiled, I think. And then afterwards, Bryson went to, did they go to the office store?
Yeah.
Because I told him, you've got to go to the office store and get some of the Pentel Sparkle Pops. Because they don't sell them. I think they had like one or two of them.
And they were really expensive.
At Blick. So I told him, save some of your little money there and go to the office store and get the Pentel Sparkle Pops. And he did. He found the Sparkle Pops, the Milky Pops, and the neon, whatever they're called. I forget what they're called. They're right here. Anyway, he found them all. And so he is very well set now with amazing art stuff. Okay, we're going in with coat number 2, and then I'll show you why we're going to all of this trouble. Again, really light coat. Really light. That's why we're doing 2 coats, so we can go really light. Okay. Last time I did this, I did the first coat with strokes this way, and the second coat with strokes this way. This time I'm testing out doing all the strokes the same way. And we can look at the other one and see if it made any difference. Okay, and then I'm going to have my handy assistant go wash this because it dries like glue onto whatever surface it touches. Okay. See how it does like glue inside the lid? It makes a mess. Okay. All right, kind assistant, will you please soap and water that?
Yep.
And I'm going to wash this off my hands so I don't touch something. Okay. Very good. That's better. Clean up my mess over here too. Got some on the cutting board. I was a little bit messy. Just a little bit. It's all right. It's supposed to be messy. Okay. So, I want to demonstrate real quick why we're going to the trouble of all of this. I'm just hitting this with a little bit of air and then we'll move it to the side. Did you beat the devil out of it?
I did.
You have a big smile on your face.
It is fun.
I'm jealous. I've never beat the devil out of a brush. I'm jealous.
Again.
Welcome back, Rose. Welcome back. All right. Okay, I'm going to set this to the side now. And because we have it all taped And handy dandy, it's portable, so I can just set it to the side while I demonstrate real quick why we went to all this trouble. And I've got down here, I'll just demonstrate on this. Oh. Okay, 2 little bunnies. This is untreated mixed media paper, and this is the mixed media paper with 2 coats of the Daniel Smith watercolor ground on it. And I'm going to let's grab ColorIt, since we kind of decided these are the ones I like. And let's grab 2 colors, a purple and a pink. Let's grab, which pink? Witty Raspberry. Where are you, Witty Raspberry? Are you Witty Raspberry? No. Are you Witty? No. Are you Witty Raspberry? Yes. Okay. So let me show you.
So basically our mixed media paper is just it's a 271 GSM cardstock.
Yeah, really awesome. Super thick. Fantastic cardstock, but not meant for water-based media. Okay. So let's attempt to do this tail.
And this is pretty much how any cardstock would act.
Any cardstock that because it's just good paper. It doesn't have the magic sizing on it now, does it? Okay, we're going to try to blend the tail. Have the tip of the tail be purple and have it gradiate into a pink. Now we could do it several different ways. There's lots of different things we can talk about if we have time. We've talked a little bit about it with the Bliss partners, but
Oops, the wrong one.
The most basic way of doing it is like this, right? If you guys picked up brush pens, this is the first way you would try. And you would be immediately frustrated, right? Because look, are we getting any kind of blend? Come on.
Let's move this over to this one now.
Come on. Now can we, if I have a water, I do. Try to blend this out to a lighter pink now. Nope, not gonna move. Okay, so now let's do that exact same method over here on our treated bunny. And I'll show you the difference. Same technique. Okay.
Polly used some clear gesso, and she says it's worked good.
Oh, good. Okay, pull this down. Come back to the purple, blend it out. Look at the difference. Oh my goodness. Can you see why we want a treatment on our paper? And then if I grab my water brush pen, see? Look at it go. All of a sudden, it's acting like what you hoped. When you buy these tools, you're picturing a watercolor effect, right? And when they demonstrate it on their little ads, that's what they're demonstrating. These beautiful watercolor effects. Look at the difference between our 2 bunny tails. Untreated, beautiful, high quality cardstock, but not meant for any kind of watercolor. Treated, and look at the blending and what we can accomplish. Isn't that amazing? The difference? Oh, it's amazing. So this is why we go to the trouble of treating our paper, so that when you use these beautiful tools, you can get these painterly, beautiful results that you want. that you were hoping for, that you were imagining. Isn't this what you were imagining when you got these? That you would get these beautiful blends between watercolors and you could do these neat things. At least that's what I expected. But you can't fight the paper. It's still just paper, right? Okay, so
I just realized I forgot to put a link to our giveaway this week in the description.
Well, that's a problem. Okay, let's bring this back. This is what we've been treating right here. I'm going to see how it's feeling. It's almost dry. Couple little wet spots. So when it gets to this point, this is when I take it off of the plastic. Now the plastic in the back, will you zoom out just a bit so they can see what I'm doing? The plastic on the back will actually trap some of the moisture. So it's very useful for a long time until the very end, and then all of a sudden it almost gets sweaty underneath. You stick your hand under here, it'll almost feel sweaty. So I usually undo it a little bit and then use my tool, which is now not working. I don't understand. I did everything right. No working. Okay, we're just gonna have to do with it as it is. Either that or go steal my son's blow dryer again, like we did last week. Okay, carefully remove. There we go. Okay. Thank you, assistant.
Welcome.
There it is, and it's almost dry. It's still a little, you can see the warping in it because it needs a little bit more drying. Oh, it just came on. We have action. Okay, so you want to dry the back side too. You can actually spray the back side of your paper. Sometimes that will help get some of the warping out. And that works because if you think about it, the paper, the fibers of the front have all been swelling up, and that's what caused the warping. So if you get the back side a little bit wet, it will cause the back side to swell as well and can counteract the warping. Okay. That feels good and dry. Oh, a little bit wet right there. All right, let's do some coloring. Spring, spring, spring. Thank you, little blow dryer thing, for coming back to life long enough to finish. Thank you.
I think it's good to point out that, this works with any water-based media.
Yes.
Water-friendly media. So Derwent Inktense, Derwent Graphitent, Prismacolor Premier watercolor pencils, gouache.
Yep.
Watercolor paints, of course.
You could use
Gelatos.
You can use your, let's see.
All of your water-based markers.
Distress ink pads, all of them. This is my list. I made a list for my partners, my Bliss partners. I wanted them to see all the possibilities of the things that I have here in my studio of water-friendly art media. So all of them now I can hit onto this page if we wanted to. We are ready for anything. So let's start coloring. And I'll show you what I would do. So is there any specific questions I can answer as I am playing with the fun supplies I have here? Any specific questions? Okay, so I'm going to do some, now that my page is treated, this is going to go really fast and easy. See? Look how fast and easy. I gotta get into a position here so that we can use the multiple cameras too. We can bring this up. So this is going to act more like watercolor paper now. So everything moves now. It's so satisfying. Look at that.
Laura says the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 water-soluble pastels are amazing. Those do sound amazing.
I think I had a follower send me a care package full of supplies, and I think she sent me a few of those.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think they're right there at your knee, and she sent so many awesome supplies that I haven't had time to dip into all of them. But I did have time to put them all away and catalog them all so I would remember that I have them all. Look how easy.
Donna just donated.
Donna, thank you so much. Oh, you guys are awesome. The little donations you give help so much because I end up buying those Arteza brush pens today. Your donations make it possible so I can buy supplies and then we test them for you and let you guys know.
I spent $150 on inkjet paper today to test.
Yeah, I didn't know you bought that much paper.
It's not a whole lot. It's just really expensive.
Oh, my word.
It's just so dang expensive.
But we don't even have an inkjet printer.
I know. I'll have to go borrow my brother's.
He has one? Oh, good. We could say, can we babysit your daughter? And then payment would be using your inkjet printer. Except, yeah, that works. I was going to say, does that mean that we're mooching off of them? But no, because we would babysit for use of their printer.
So there's been a couple questions about...
look how pretty. So pretty. And fast. I love it.
I think it would be good to just clarify again that if you have these pens and here, I'll just switch it over here. If you have any water-based media, so we're talking these waterbrush pens, Tombow watercolor markers, Zig brushables. They're also a watercolor marker. Derwent ink tents. Ink tents not as much as anything that's like this, where it comes out, wet. Any paper that's not treated, you're going to struggle with blending. So that's any cardstock. It's any of the colored pencil paper, Spring Hill, the Bristol vellum papers, the marker paper we use. It's really smooth. Again, all of it will just soak in the stuff. All the testing that we've done has shown that you won't get a good blend. Doesn't mean that you can't make it look nice, just don't plan on blending. Yeah. Right?
Well,
if you're doing solid color, it's probably fine.
Yeah. Yeah. There's ways to force things. We've done it before. We can force our products to do certain things, but it's, you reach a point where that paper just says no more and it starts to pill up and you get the streaky looks and all these things that frustrate us, right? So what I'm trying to show you here is how to do this blissfully. How to do it and get the effect that you were hoping for when you bought it, right? Like if you're like me, you're like, oh, watercolor and bristles and I want a painterly look. This is what I wanted. And
so Polly donated. She says, so looking forward to meeting y'all. She's
going to be up here in May. Thank you so much.
Margot also donated.
Margot, thank you. They're donating towards the paper. Oh. Right? Is that what they're helping towards? The paper that Steve ordered. We're trying to learn about paper for all of you.
So Destiny, the miscellaneous thrifter,
I love the
asked,
name.
what type of paper should I use with Tombow dual brush pens? So again,
Such a good
we
question.
do have a favorite marker paper, and
Yep.
again, it works really well with alcohol markers. But as soon as you get a water-based media and throw it on there, such as the Tombow dual brush pens,
Yeah.
it's going to give you problems with blending. And so,
Yeah, I'll show you. Let me show you. Look how good this is looking.
oh, so pretty.
Yeah, I can go back and help it along.
Oh, looks like somebody asked and they've answered. What did we treat the paper with? Yes, the Daniel Smith transparent watercolor ground. That's also, there's a link to that in the description of this video.
Okay.
And if you don't want to go to the hassle of treating, and you're okay cutting a 9x12 paper down to 8.5 by 11 to be able to put through your printer, then we can show you a recommendation of our favorite watercolor paper that actually has sizing on it, which is basically just similar to what we did. It's a pre-treatment. It's a treatment they put on it to keep the ink on top of the paper and give you a little time to move that ink around.
Yeah, when they're making the watercolor paper, they either spray the paper or they impregnate the paper with the sizing. And that's why it's not, I mean, watercolor paper is usually really thick. And that's one reason, but not the main reason why watercolor paper acts the way it does. The main reason is because of the sizing.
Which is why you don't really want to go out and just buy anything that says watercolor paper on it. I did a big rant to our partners that...
Yeah, he ranted to the partners because he was doing research for them about watercolor paper. And he was like, man, they say one thing, but then you start reading and it's not true what they're trying to sell you.
It's because Amazon is just a big wild west of marketing, and people, so these companies, here they just see that everybody's so excited about watercolor, and so they say, ooh, let's make a thick cardstock and call it watercolor paper because it has texture on it. But there's no sizing on it, so it's just gonna be the same as buying any thick cardstock. You're not gonna be able to blend, and so it's just frustrating to me that it feels like these companies are just taking advantage of all of you out there.
Okay, here's some Tombows. The difference between the watercolor brush pens and Tombows. I'll tell you really quick. The watercolor brush pens that we are talking about today have bristles like that. See the bristles? And that's why we're all excited about these, because you can get kind of a painterly effect with these type of brush pens or markers, depending on the brand. These ones here have been around for ages. Most of us know about the Tombows. They have a felt tip. What we love about the Tombows is the tip on these ones are flexible. So if you're doing lettering, you put a little pressure down onto the Tombow. Let me find my scratch piece of paper. If you put a little bit of pressure down, you can either get a really thin line or you can lean in and get a beautiful thick line, which makes for lettering really fun. For coloring, it's fun because you can fill in large areas really quick. But it is water-based, so you get the streakies that we all hate. But it is what it is, right? So let me show you. If this is the untreated mixed media paper. If I try to color, say, this area right here, I'm not going to be very particular about being in the lines. I just want to show you. Let's say I was trying to color a gradation like this. Let's see. Let's take it all the way up. I'm trying to think how I would do it. Then I would go over it, get that to go in. Okay, I got it to go. And then I would come up here and deepen this tone up a bit. Okay, and then I would stop. Be careful not to overdo, because you guys know the more you lay down with these types of markers or your Crayola Super Tips, the more you lay down, right, the wetter the paper gets, the more the fibers fill up and the more the pilling happens, and yeah. Okay, so I got it to blend and it looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with that. Okay, now if we come over here, this is our treated, same paper type. This is just treated with the same stuff we have treated on our coloring book, the Daniel Smith watercolor ground. So look how much easier it is to do. Now, I'll tell you, one of the... I'm out of frame. Okay, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. And come up with the pink.
Up a little bit.
Thank you. Oh, look at that. Okay. Almost done already. So it goes faster. You use less ink. And I think, I don't know, which one do we prefer? There we go.
Yeah, they both look really nice.
They both look really good. So this one was easier to achieve. I was able...
You don't get pilling either, right?
No pilling. If I go across
What if you look at the back of it?
Well, it shouldn't bleed through because this is just water-based, so it won't bleed through. But this one... the paper is starting to pill up, but not bad. Oh, down here it is. It's pilling up down there. So you can get blends. It's not impossible. We all know that. It's not impossible to blend. You could do the tip-to-tip technique. You can do the technique with the palette where you lay the color down and pick it up with the... There's lots of techniques that you can do to force and cheat our way into blends. So there's things that we can do, right, to get these blends and do what we want to do. So what I'm showing you tonight is another method, another technique. This one, to me, pre-treating your paper, what I like about it is it sort of makes everything just a little easier. You don't have to be quite so, oh no, have I used too much water? I can just relax.
now, again, if you're, those are Tombows.
Yep.
You know, felt tip, water-based markers. They do much better than these, like ColorIt watercolor pens. These are, it's like once you hit that.
Yeah, these just lay down.
You won't get a blend.
Yeah,
these.
Let's try the same type thing here. If I grab red and a pink. I don't know if that's a pink.
Why don't you show them really quick what the watercolor ground looks like again?
The bottle?
Yeah.
This is the bottle right here. Daniel Smith transparent watercolor ground is what you're looking for.
And show them inside.
And you shake it up, and then it just looks like this. It looks like I'm about halfway down now, and I've treated quite a few pages, so it lasts quite a long time. It smells a little painty gluey, but not offensively strong. So it's got a slight smell, but it's not going to offend you. I don't think it would offend anyone. Like, it's not going to give you a bad headache. I think you'd have to be really super sensitive. I'm pretty sensitive, and it doesn't bug me.
Yeah. And why don't you explain what you like about this over a clear gesso?
I only have one other brand of clear gesso, which is the Liquitex brand, and that brand has so much tooth or texture in it that it's like sandpaper once it's down, and it will just eat up the tips of your markers, which I don't like. We all work really hard to protect the tips of our markers, and so I haven't liked that. So that's why I was searching for a different alternative. And if you want to see all the alternatives that I've tried, I think I posted a picture on my Facebook page of just a few of the alternatives that we've tried. And these two are, this one is the favorite. There were some others that we ran into, but this is the favorite, and we could spend hours. We have spent hours testing and going through them, but this is my favorite. And it works great. I really like it. So, and it, like I said, it kind of takes the stress out of when you start using watercolor mediums. If I wanted to now, I could come in and hit this with full-on watercolor, like paint on this, do the whole background in a big wash of blue, and then come in and color each individual element if I wanted to do that. I could use color pencils on top of this, alcohol markers on top of this, gel pens on top of this, anything I want. It doesn't limit me at all. It just opens possibilities.
This Dan is asking about let's see, what'd she say? Isn't it better to start with the light pen and blend with the dark to avoid contamination?
Light pen and go to dark. If you do get some contamination onto the tip of one of them, you can clean it off. So yes, you can get some contamination, but it's not going to hurt them. If you're a little concerned about it, you can be a little bit more careful about it than what I'm being. Okay, so we could do the same type things with different colors. I've changed pens here now to show you the Castle Arts, which are the ones we're giving away. Look at that blue and the purple mixed together. Oh, I just might go all the way down and get a different color altogether. Look at that. That made a new color. Another thing we like about watercolor, right? That's when you watch the watercolor artists, they almost never use a straight color. Have you guys noticed that? They're always mixing. They almost never use a color straight out of the pan. So fun to watch them mix new colors. Look at that. Ooh, pretty. So much fun. So the watercolor brush pens, they have these fun bristles that we can take advantage of. Here I'm just doing more solid coloring, kind of like what you would do with a marker. We haven't really taken advantage of the painterly type effect that you can get with the bristles.
So we're starting to get a lot of comments and questions about why not just use watercolor paper. So if you want to show them that you can use watercolor paper. In fact, it's probably better and easier. It's just more expensive per page.
We have tried to source watercolor paper for our print shop because, oh man, would I love to be able to provide watercolor paper for all of you. A full coloring book all on watercolor paper would be amazing. But every source we have checked is so expensive for true good watercolor paper that has sizing and everything. So part of the problem, the sizing treatment on watercolor paper can cause problems going through printers. So please be aware of that. When you run your paper through your printer, whether it's inkjet or laser, your paper that you use normally is formulated and made just for that printer. The paper we use here in the print shop is made for our laser printer. We bought it specific and tested it specifically to work beautifully in our laser printer, and worked with our paper guy and said we want it to work in this printer and work this way with these art mediums, and that's why we have what we have for you. So then we talked to him about watercolor paper. And told him what watercolor paper is, and he knew a little bit about it, but it's a different creature because watercolor paper is treated. So his concern, and it's a valid concern, is that it is sprayed and treated with that sizing, which can upset the way that the ink is sealed onto that watercolor paper. So right here, let me show you. I have that same bunny page. Where are you, little bunny? Right here. This little bunny is printed on Canson XL watercolor paper. And it worked decent. It was printed on a LaserJet print. No, laser?
Yes.
Laser. That's all we have in this house. I'm getting confused now. It was printed on a laser printer, and Steve had to hold it and force it through the printer. We have,
Right now.
that's because I'm holding it up close, I think. Anyway, we have a really good home printer that has a straight shot print, and not a curled one where the paper comes back like this. It's a straight shot one. So he can hold it and force it through, and it will print. Now, as you work with this, I'm just using water. This is just plain water. As I do water on this, see the color? It will actually release the line work. What's happening is the sizing is fighting the ink that was laid down. And you can see the lines are starting to give up. It's just not meant. This is watercolor paper. It's not meant to go through a printer, right? So you have to be okay with that possibly your lines may not survive your coloring that you do to it. Your paper that you buy may be too thick for your printer, so you want to check that. What's the other problem that you may run into? There was another one. I had another point.
The toner coming off?
That's what I just was talking about. The other problem is most watercolor paper comes in bigger size than what most home printers will accept, so you have to cut the paper down, which maybe isn't a big deal to you. But as a printer, for us, we can't afford the time and effort it would take to cut down the paper, and that's another reason why we can't offer it in our books, because we'd have to cut every single page. The paper's already expensive, and then
and they come in pads, they're not loose.
Yeah, so we'd have to cut everything, and it just is too much money. So that's why we instead have decided to offer really good other kinds of paper and then educate you on how to treat your own paper or buy different kinds of watercolor paper. Now, we have found one kind of watercolor paper that I'll recommend to you. It's a lighter weight watercolor paper. It is a bigger pad, so you'll have to cut it down, but it's lighter weight, so it will go through most home printers. I think Steve put a link to it already in the video description. It's by Speedball, and it's called Bienfang is the name of the paper. It's pretty economical, and you can just cut it down and send it through your printer and print any of the art on it and use it that way. Then you don't have to pre-treat or anything. And that will work great. The pre-treating is a great alternative if you've already invested in color books. You have all these coloring books, and now you have these beautiful watercolor brush tools, and you want to put them together. Then having a way to treat your paper is a great alternative. So that's why we're talking about this tonight. So if you want to invest in some watercolor paper that has the sizing and is a little thinner weight, that paper is a good alternative. Or you can try some thicker stuff. Just be aware it may or may not be happy in your printer, because sometimes it's a little tricky, and it may or may not adhere to the toner may or may not adhere correctly. So that's the story of why watercolor paper is so
which we've spent
problematic.
Several hours in our workshops.
Yeah, in our workshops we've gone into even more detail with them and showed them different kinds of paper, and it's been really a fun adventure to do with our workshop, because there's so much to learn and understand about paper. And like I've said before, when I first started into this coloring journey, I didn't understand how important paper was, or I think I didn't believe it. I didn't buy into the fact that paper would be as big of a factor as what it is. And it really does make all the difference on these types of things. You got to have good paper, man, and you got to know how to work the paper with the tool. And if you're having problems, then maybe it's your tool, it's not you. So if you understand all this, then you stop being so frustrated and you just kind of enjoy yourself. So let me show you. There's that color. I just squeezed the Jane Davenport. That's one of the reasons I love the Jane Davenports. Squeeze out a little bit of that paint. And then I'm going to grab a brush. Here's a brush. And I'm going to get it wet and pick up that paint. Look how vibrant that color is. Oh my goodness, so pretty. And because we've prepped this paper, I want to make sure we can now just paint. Where should I paint? I kind of want to do background. I feel like we've gone over time. Are we over?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, look at it go. I'm just going to go for it. More water, because I don't have to be afraid. More water. Look at that pigment go. We can drop in some darker color in there. Into the centers. Kind of getting a starry sky kind of effect going here. More water. Don't be afraid of the water.
Melinda Reading and Coloring Enthusiast just donated. She said, "Thank you for all you do."
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you guys help so much. I hope all the explanations make sense. Ooh, I love how this is turning out, where put a little blob of that straight ink in the middle of these flowers. Oof. I forgot to do the eye when I was doing the dot on the eye, when I was doing the lettering. Okay, while that's still wet, I want to get those drops of that ink into these little spots. Come down this way now. More water. Lots of water.
Iris asked, about the cost associated with these.
Good question. I don't think we've talked about that here. We talked about it over on Facebook. The Jane Davenports are by far the most expensive. They are like way more expensive. So to get a Jane Davenport 12 set, it costs about $28 just for 12. So for $25, you can get the 24 set of ColorIts. And for $20, you can get the 24 set of ColorIts. I think Jane Davenport's coming out with more colors. So that's exciting. The ColorIts come with a water brush pen, which is a really positive perk. The ColorIts come with a case, a nice case, and the ColorIts can be refilled, and I think the ColorIts flow a little better than the ColorIt. We're getting the Artezas in. We've ordered them. They're not here yet. So right now I would recommend the ColorIts. Okay, we're adding some of the purple now into the centers of these flowers while they're still a little wet. A little purple up here. Okay, I like that. Okay, now I'm gonna grab this blue here and actually go in and color each of these. And it's still a little bit wet, so it's doing some nice little flowy things there. Do this one blue too to give it some good balance. Got that one big poppy yellow flower. Let's give it some blue. Good.
Oh, thank you, Carla. Carla just donated.
Thank you. We need to do the rose show. Let's see if that yellow from the Jane Davenport's strong enough. Are you strong enough, Jane? Let's see if she's strong enough.
Suzette asked, what is the difference between watercolor markers and watercolor pencils?
Good question. Watercolor pencils are basically just like a standard watercolor pencil.
Colored pencil.
They're just like a normal color pencil, except the binders in the pencil core are water soluble. So when you touch it with water, the binders sort of dissolve and wash away, leaving behind just the color. So you can get some really beautiful painterly effects. If you want, you can use them like standard color pencils. And then when you want to add some water, you can. So, you know, pretty much what you think about, all art tools are pigment or color being carried by something. So when you learn of some new tool that you've never tried, that's kind of what you want to learn and ask and find out about. What's it being carried by that makes it different than other things I've tried? And will it work with other things I have? So this, for instance, is all water-based media. So if I added some water-soluble pencils with this, it would do some really neat, fun things. Because every time something wet hit those pencils, the pigments would get released from those pencils. So they do play well together. So as you start learning about your tools, you'll learn that some things play well together and they'll mix well and they can do some fun effects.
Speaking of that, Donna asked, why would someone need watercolor brushes and alcohol markers?
So an alcohol marker is pigment carried by alcohol, and they act totally different than a water-based product. They blend different. They soak into the fibers of your paper differently. They soak more slowly.
Well, the alcohol evaporates so quickly.
Is that what it is? That's
Yeah.
a better way of saying it. So it doesn't create this problem that we have with water. Water hits the paper, the fibers swell, it doesn't go away, and the more you layer more and more in, the more it swells and swells and swells, and then you have a problem. The alcohol markers, you start stroking it in, and the alcohol evaporates and leaves behind the color, and you can build it up layer upon layer. Of course, it soaks through and it will bleed through onto the back of your paper, but you get this beautiful, intense color that we love so much. They're really fun to work with. So they're two different creatures. Now, they work great together as far as I could have colored spring with alcohol markers, and it would have been a permanent ink, soaked in, unmovable once it dries. And then when I hit my water on top of it, that spring word would not have moved. Nothing would have moved. But because I did both in water, now this spring is, it's very possible to move. I can't think of a better word than that. So you can use alcohol and water-based together. You just have to be mindful of what order to do it. Your order of operations, as we learned in math. I hope that answered the question. So yeah, you kind of need both. You need both.
Science Lover 89 asked, what's the meaning behind the different pound weights on watercolor paper?
Such a good question and so confusing. And I am going to turn this over to my main man here to tell you how to understand that.
I don't know if I can explain it quickly. I'll try. Okay, anytime you see pounds on paper, and this is for any paper, not just watercolor paper, basically it's referring to 500 sheets, how much 500 sheets of printer paper weighs. Now, printer paper has different sizes depending on whether it's index or bond or cardstock, But anyway, it's about like 17 inches by 22 inches. So say that's probably a pretty standard size. So what they do is they take and they have 500 sheets of 17 by 22. They weigh it, and that's how many pounds that paper is. So when you see 100-pound paper, that's what it's referring to. Now, of course, once they cut it down to 8.5 by 11, that would be different, right? It'd be smaller. So It's not like if you get a ream of 100-pound 8.5 by 11 paper, that ream isn't going to weigh 100 pounds. Because it's just a fraction of the original 17 by 22 or however big it was. So pounds I wouldn't really go by pounds as much as they'll have grams per square meter or grams per meter squared. You'll see GSM or GM squared. That'll give you a better idea of how thick the paper is. So for instance, the paper we use in our studio it's a 100-pound cardstock, but it's 271 GSM. And that's what you'd look at, because you could see like 100-pound text, paper, and that's thinner. It's smaller GSM. Anyway, it all gets really confusing. So the best advice we could give you is go by GSM. Look up your printer specs. If you just go online and search your printer, and the name of your printer, specs, and you should hopefully be able to find what GSM your printer can handle. Look for that, and that'll give you a better idea of whether or not that paper can go through your printer.
Yeah, if you want to show them on, like, that was really good. If you look at, like, would that show them the two different numbers?
Yeah. So on here, you'll notice that it's saying 140 pound, 300 G. That G is that GSM I was telling you about. So 140 pound paper, 300 G. 300 is really thick. Our paper that we use is 271, and it's really thick for a cardstock, which is why most watercolor papers, and the reason why some of these companies can kind of trick you into thinking it's watercolor paper is because they'll do a 300 GSM paper, put some texture on it, and call it watercolor paper. Well, yeah, technically it'll probably handle water a little better without, bleeding through or pilling up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it has sizing on it, which is really what counts, as we've seen tonight, for coloring with wet media.
Right.
So
they're...
I could jump on right now and show you. It's ridiculous. Go onto Amazon, watercolor paper 8.5 by 11. If you type that to try to find something that'll run through your printer, you'll see a bunch of things that say watercolor paper, but none of them have sizing. So they're just thick cardstocks. Or they may not even be thick and they're just textured and they're calling it watercolor. And then when you read a little bit closer, you'll see for a watercolor effect. So that's why they're calling it watercolors, because it's a watercolor effect, because most watercolor papers have a texture on them. So anyway, from what we found, I haven't found yet any 8.5 by 11 true watercolor paper that has sizing on it. I haven't found anything.
No.
To get to that, you pretty much have to go to a 9 by 12 pad. And even then, it's usually will specifically say that it has sizing on it, like the Canson, like the Bienfang, like the B paper, these other ones that we've tested. But
yeah,
I don't know. Long answer to your question, but it's like I said, we've literally spent the last 2 weeks of our coloring workshops. The first week was all dedicated to paper and showing them all of this stuff. So if you really are interested in that and you want to find the best solutions, we've put together I put together today a big long blog post that kind of says, okay, if you're doing this, then these are the combinations we recommend. If you're coloring with just markers and water brushes, then do this. If you're coloring with Inktense, Derwent pencils, and that's all you're coloring with, do this. If you're mixed media, do something different. Anyway, there's a lot to it.
Yep. And that is exactly, like I said, why we wanted to do the Bliss Partners, have that kind of time and that ability to spend with people, because we just don't have that time here on these evenings. So it's been such a great way to do all of that. Okay, I'm feeling like we're getting close to having this done. I am using this yellow. I'm not being worried about getting the tip contaminated because we can clean it off. But it's making this nice green look as I spin it around. It picks up the blue from below and makes this nice yellowy green. Try not to lean my arm on the page because there's so much wet, but I keep feeling like I'm leaning on the page. Okay, we got to clean that tip off there. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a purpley color and come in here and add a little bit more of this purple, and then I want to add, you can kind of see what I was talking about, flow issues with. It's one reason I love the Jane Davenports, is they just flow like crazy, where these guys you have to do the squiggle motion to squiggle.
Well, we're 35 minutes over.
What? Okay.
You getting tired?
Yeah, but I wanted to finish this page. So I'm doing,
I don't think they mind.
I'm doing a messy job, but I kind of liking the messiness because it's looking more painterly. And the blue that I did is coming up through the messy strokes. Okay, this one needs just a little bit more love. Oh, I'm not in the screen, sorry. And then I want to add one more thing and we'll call it good. Maybe two more things. Okay, I added all these like freckles down the side. Oh, I missed a flower. Sorry, little flower. Let me get you.
For Be a Bright Sparkle, it's 3:35 a.m. now.
Oh my goodness.
And they're liking your picture so far.
It's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but it's not what I thought it was going to be.
Out of frame again.
I'm using that yellow again because I'm liking how it's picking up the blue beneath it. This is the watercolor stuff. It wouldn't do this if we hadn't done the treatment underneath it. We wouldn't get this blending type effect. Okay, I'm just running around with the yellow anywhere where I missed some coloring and adding a little yellow here and there. Make it feel like I finished. Clean off that yellow brush before putting it away. One more thing I want to do is with my white Posca pen, add some white highlights. This is what I've been using lately for my highlights because you guys know I struggle with the white. And this has been working pretty good. So I'm going to add some white dots in this freckle area. The stippling that I added. Okay. Some of the stipples I added here are glittery, so I'm excited to move it in the light.
Oops, I keep doing the wrong.
That dot went crazy. It really bled. I did it on purpose. Stipples. We love our stipples. Okay, then I'm going to add just a few little white highlights to make some of these. I should really be letting the paint dry all the way. We'll see how the Posca pen reacts to slightly wet. We're going to find out together. Little white highlights here and there. Oh, really, Rose? Are you saying it's time for treats? Is that what you're saying? Saying, Mama, stop coloring and let's do the rose show. I think that's what she's saying. They don't want to see coloring. They want to see the rose show. I think that's what she's saying. Okay, a few more highlights. One here. Now the Posca paint is having a little trouble on my wet paint. I am not surprised. That's all right because we're rushing this. All right. Wow. Okay, one more thing to add, and that is the date. Steve, what is the date? I'm totally
10th.
the 10th.
Let's see this thing real quick.
I'm going to attempt to write the date with this. Okay, June? No. Oh my goodness, look at my arm. I think I laid my arm in the paint a couple times. Okay. Oh, my whole work surface is blue. It's a good thing I have the... Okay, that was hilarious. I had to share. That's probably what happened right there. I bet I put my... Anyway, that's funny. Okay. It's not June. It's April. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see if I can write with this. April.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. Dawn just donated.
Dawn, thank you. See, she agrees. It's the Rose Show time. 2019. There, I did it. It's really light, but it's there. And I need to take a bath. Look at this. Look at my arm. It's all the way up to my elbow. I definitely look like I've been doing art today. I'm proud of this. I matched my shirt. Hopefully I didn't get it on my pretty white shirt. I don't care about anything other than my pretty white shirt. That was so much fun. Look, okay, let's move it in the light and see if any of the bling... Oh yeah, I can see some of it. Can you guys see some of it?
Comes in a little bit.
I love it. I love being able to... Did you see how much water? I just hit it with all that water and didn't have to be afraid or anything. And here I am in my standard coloring book. So that is pretty cool. I really like that. What do you think, Rose? Is it time to do the Rose Show? I think it's time for the Rose Show.
Okay.
And I'm covered in paint, and hopefully none of it is toxic. I don't think it is, so it was lots of fun. I am pretty happy with that. So the Posca paint is going a little translucent on that white, on the wet paint, but that's okay. I still like it, so hopefully you guys learned a lot. Like we've said several times, if you want to learn more, join us as a partner, because we have 3 more weeks dedicated to all things water friendly art media, April showers, art coloring. It's going to be lots of fun. I'm not sure what we're doing next week, but it's going to be more. We've got pencils we're going to be doing, and it's going to be so much fun. So you should join us if you'd like to.
Can't wait for the ink tints and the graphitints.
Is that what you're looking
cool.
forward to?
Yeah, those are so cool.
I'm predicting he's going to reach over and take the pencil out of my hand. It should be fun. All right, let's do the Rose Show. It's Rose Show time. Have you been writing down everybody's names for me? So I know who to give Rose a gift to, a treat for. Are you ready for treats? Do you want to get down and do treats? Mishka left, so you don't have to worry about him getting in the way. Do you want to move over, Steve, so we can do the Rose Show? Let me get out your treat so you know. Yeah, she's licking her lips and everything. Are you ready? Let's go down on the floor. Will you swing the camera around for us, Steve? I'm just so covered in blue paint. It's hilarious. Let's get you out of that hot chair. Say hi. Thanks for donating, everybody. All right. You go down here. I got the treats. Oh, she's ready. She's ready. Mishka's gone, but she's ready. Okay. Is that a good? Oh, that's good. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
You got it to go down? Okay. All right, who's the first treat for?
Put it over here. Just a sec. Let me. Oh, hello,
yeah.
Steve. Hello.
Oh, are you so ready? Oh, she's so ready. Okay, you gotta come forward.
Okay, this is for Mary Lynn.
Mary Lynn. Okay, go around. Run around. Good girl. Thank you so much, Mary Lynn, for donating to our channel. Okay, who's next?
And then Donna.
Donna, this one's for you. Okay, come right here. Down. Well, wait. You gotta wait for me to tell you. Make sure you're in frame. Good. Roll over. Good girl. Good girl. Thank you, Donna. Okay, who's the next one?
Polly.
Polly. This one's for Polly. Okay, flat down. Down. Stay. Now, oh, down. No, you have to stay. Stay. Now jump. Jump. Oh, good girl. Okay, thanks, Polly.
Margot.
Okay, Margot. Let me get another one broken up into little pieces here.
Darby asked if the dog has its own box.
She doesn't like boxes. Like,
Nope, that was for our cat
that's for
niche.
cat. Okay, come over here. Okay, stay. Who's this for? I forget.
Margot.
Margot. Stay. 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 Look at Mama. Look at Mama. Up here. Up here. Stay. Okay, go get it. Good girl. Oh, that may not be exciting, but that's probably the hardest of all of them. Oh, she's on more. Okay.
This one is Melinda.
All right, Melinda. Come over here. Oh, she's really ready, Melinda.
I know.
Okay, can you go around and around and around and around?
Oh, she's going both ways.
Wow, that was tricky. Okay, do we have another one?
We have Carla.
Okay, Carla, are you ready? Okay, come right here. Okay, let's see how long you'll stand for, Carla. Stand, stay, stay. Oh, you can do better than that. Up, stay. Oh.
She sits. So cute. She's all, look, I'm doing it alone.
That's really good. We'll give you one for that one. That was really good. Any more?
Dawn.
Dawn. The last one was... Okay, we'll try the standing one more time for Dawn. Okay, can you stand? Stay, 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 and jump. Good girl. That was so good. You did so good. Thank you so much to everybody who donated. Let's see if we can get this camera back to where we can look at us like normal people. Oh, there's still a treat up here. We better put that away so she doesn't snitch on it when she's not supposed to. There, that's perfect. All right. I hope you enjoyed the Rose Show. I know Rose enjoyed the Rose Show. Thank you so much for all the donations. It really does help. It pretty much will help pay for those papers that Steve ordered today. So thanks for all your help. Thanks for all your support. Don't forget to hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed today. It always helps the YouTube algorithm know that you enjoyed our video. So thank you so much. I hope all this information will help you to make good decisions and have fun coloring with your watercolor brush, pens, or markers, whatever it is that you purchase. And I will let you know when we get the Artezas how I like them, and we'll compare them to my current 3 brands. So I'll let you know what I think of them when they get here. Thanks again. Have fun coloring on your advent calendar. I'm going to get caught up on mine, and I will be posting them on my Instagram, which is right there. I'll be posting them on my Instagram and also on my Facebook page. So if you want to see how my progress is going, make sure you follow me there. And also don't forget to enter for the giveaway for the Castle Art pens. These ones right here, so that you'll have a chance to win. We'll announce the winner of these pens next week during our live event. So come back and see if you won, and you'll also be able to enter for next week's giveaway. So thanks again, everybody, and have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everybody.